Hello YouTube, this is Kratos1283 doing a special Magic the Gathering deck profile for you guys today. Now, I'm not going to really stick with Yu-Gi-Oh! Full too much, maybe especially right now I am going to be doing, of course, the weekly ban list selections, but other than that, there really isn't much to do with Yu-Gi-Oh! At the moment, since the ban list is coming out pretty dang soon here. So with that being said, I'm going to be doing a Magic the Gathering deck profile. If you guys do like Magic the Gathering as well, let me know and I'll see if I can do more about Magic the Gathering. So here we go. Let's get started with the deck profile. It is a green deck. Green is my main color that I like to use. It's more of a green ramp deck. So let's get on with it. First off, I'm not really going to explain these. I have 19 lands in this deck. I am thinking of actually putting the count down, as you will see. So, here we go. We have, first, one Birds of Paradise. It's a 1-drop for a 0/1 that taps for any color of mana. The reason why I have it in there is for mana producing, as well as a defense against flying creatures. Next, we have our 4 Llanowar Elves. Again, just like the Birds of Paradise, he's a 1-drop that taps for only green mana. Next we have 2 Jorgus Tree Speakers. Another 1-drop in the deck that is a 1/1 that levels up by paying 2, but she can then tap for 2 green mana, and if she goes above level 4, all your elves can tap for 2 green mana. Next we have 2 Leaf Guilders. 2-drop for, I believe, yes, a 2/1 that taps for 1 green mana. 1 Viridian Joiner, a 3-drop that taps for mana equal to its power. Elves, some of the elves with some of the other cards in this deck can get pretty powerful, so it is a decent mana producing card. Next we have 2 Elvish Harbinger. Helps me get out certain elves in the deck, and taps for 1 mana of any color. 3 Green Weaver Druid, a 3-drop that taps for 2 green mana. You will see why this deck works, or how this deck works in a little bit. Finally, the last mana producing card are 4 Elvish Archdruids. They beef up my elves, and they're just crazy mana support in this deck. Usually, if I get certain hands, for the most part, I can get like 6 mana on turn 3. So that's really how this deck works. For supporter cards, really, we have 1 Jurga Warcaller. I only run 1, of course, and let's see if you guys can see it a little better closer up. He's in there. I can kick a lot of times in this deck, and my elves can all get really beefed up with this guy. The elves being powerful is not a main thing in this deck, though, so it is just a support card. 1 Fight Bear. I would like to run 2 of these, but I only have 1. The main thing about this is that I have a lot of big creatures in this deck, and before doing my my battle, I can make you fight one of my creatures with this, and get rid of one of the creatures that I really don't want you blocking with, and then go and attack. Next we have 2 Fauna Shaman. She helps me search through my deck, and she works well with Vengevine, of which I will get to later. 2 Impervious Perfect. Again, it beefs up my elves and does give me a 1/1 elf creatures that I believe turn into 2/2 elf creatures. Yes, they turn into 2/2 elf creatures. Yeah, they're just really good. Just gives me, I just like to have more of a defense against other creatures out there. For the medium-sized creatures, we have 1 Protein Hydra. Now, I know a lot of people probably don't really like Protein Hydra as it takes a couple of turns to get big. But with, of course, this deck, I can bring it out pretty big in the first place. Like I can bring it out as a 6/6 the turn it first comes out if I have enough mana, which I should. Late game, and then next turn it can turn into a 12/12, and then a turn after tries 24/24. And of course that really helps with Fight Bear, getting rid of all those bigger creatures. Next we have Vengevine. We're only running one, because this deck, it isn't like the one deck that abused it before. But one is good enough. And I do like the ability that has haste, 4/3 for 4, which is also very good. And we're still drawing into lower elves if this is in the graveyard, so you can keep bringing it back. One Wolfbrighter Elemental. Now again, like I said with Drogo Warcaller, you can kick so many times with this deck. This card is a win condition for me. You play it, you pay the 4, which is barely anything for my deck, and then you just kick it a whole shitload of times, and you got a bunch of creatures. So that's mainly what it's in there for. For the big dudes, the fatties, as some like to call it in Magic the Gathering, what was his name? Terra Stomper. One Terra Stomper, a 6 cast cost creature for an 8/8 that cannot be countered, and it has trample. So that's just really stupid good. One Rogue Elemental. He's an 8/5 Trampler for 6 that has 1 Regenerate. I think you guys can see where this deck is going. For our 7 cast cost, we have Chancellor of the Tangle. I usually like him. He has a good defense against flying. He does have Vigilance, which is also very nice. And if you have him in your opening hand, he does help out with some more plays. One Leech of the Tangle. He's one of my favorite creatures in this deck. He's an 8/8 for 8 that when he deals you damage, all my forests get counters on them, and they all become 8/8 creatures. One Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger. Helps me get my mana producers out, stops my opponent's mana for a turn. Overall, just a very good card. And he also has Trample. One Terastodon. Now, Terastodon is, of course, one of the favorite cards in this deck. A 9/9 for 8 that destroys things on the field. If my opponent has 3 big creatures, I kill him off. Give him 3/3 elephants, which is not a problem for me whatsoever. Or, if I want to go in for the kill, I can just get rid of 3 of my forests that I don't really need and pull out 3 elephants. One of these bad guys here, let's see, Crater Hoof Behemoth. One Crater Hoof Behemoth. He's basically an overrun on legs, and I haven't actually used him yet, but I mean, he's just really good. You play him, he has haste, all your creatures get +X/+X, and trample, where X is the number of creatures you have on the field, with all the elves coming out. I usually have a huge field, so this guy just is win condition as well. One Neogen of Life's Web. Now, funny enough with this card, I pulled it a very, very long time ago. I ended up trading it to my fiance. She ended up trading it to her brother, who then moved to Alberta, which is the province right beside mine. And he ended up coming on a visit. I saw it in his trades, and I had to get it, and it's just helped me so much. I can play her, remove her counters, and play a whole bunch of fatties. So, and 9 cast cost really isn't hard in this deck, especially with your elves. One Artisan of Kozilek, with his nice Annihilator ability of 2, and he's a 10/9, and when he comes into play, you return a creature card from your graveyard into play. So, I mean, again, 9 is not a very hard cast for me to play. One Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre, or Gur, I don't know how to pronounce that. But yes, you guys probably know him. The 10/10, Annihilator 4, when it comes into play, it destroys target permanent, and he's indestructible. Now for the final card. Yes, I know it is banned, And but again, I don't really play by band tournaments. But when Emrakul, everybody knows him. He's just stupid, and again, I can pull him off pretty easily in this deck. I'm not going to explain Emrakul. And the final two cards in this deck, we finally have some sorceries. One Overrun and one Overwhelming Stampede. Both very good cards, both win conditions in their own way. That's pretty much the deck. Comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know what you would do to make this deck better. Of course, I'm always good for an opinion on how to make my decks better. But until then, this is Kratos123 signing out.